One of the faces of EGL, he has joined me. How are you, Mellow?
All right, I've just realised how shiny my head is in this. It's not
It is
the best
warm.
look.
Why have you made
where
the
are
venue?
the makeup people, damn it?
Well, this is it. Why have you made the venue so warm? I heard you did it on purpose.
Well, we put some radiators in instead of air conditioning before we go in the opposite direction and thought, hot, that's the way to do it. And so we've done it.
So the critical question most people need to ask at this moment is, how is the schedule going and are we on time?
Well, as most people who've been watching at home have seen, there's been a couple of issues.
Well, they haven't been watching at home.
Well,
that would be the
trying
issue.
to watch at home, it's probably been like jerky and stuff. But yeah, we've had a few issues with the ISP, I believe, and hopefully that's been mitigated now. So it should be smooth sailing for an hour. That'll probably jinx it. It'll be down in about 10 minutes. But that's obviously had a knock-on effect with the.
What do you think the reaction to the venue and everything has gone for you this? I mean, a lot of people quite impressed. You've come middle of London. What do you think of the venue? Are you happy with how it's turned out?
Well, it's taken a while to get it to this stage.
That was a nervous well.
Yeah, I mean, if you look around, I could see a lot of my own handiwork. So the fact that a couple of people said it's all right, it's quite
built
pleasing.
this by himself, hands-on.
Aspects of it, yes, that is actually
crafting
true.
hands.
These hands were not made for lifting, but lifting they have. So.
Awesome. So is this a more regular thing? You're trying to get into bigger locations like London or rather than Blackpool, or we'll be back to Blackpool for the next event just in time?
Honestly, I think we'll try and mix it up because ultimately we need to strike a balance between that kind of thing, because obviously with London it's perfect to get to. There's like 7 airports or 9 airports, I think, whereas Blackpool has 1 airport and I think you can only fly there from like Ireland, so it's not that useful ultimately. But at the same time, you know, when you go to places like Sheffield, you can often get cheaper places to stay. London is quite expensive. I know myself, having to like book people into hotels and things like that takes a lot of looking and stuff, and especially for non-UK teams, if they either A, leave it too long, or B, don't really have knowledge of how to find hotels properly, they can end up staying, as the Spaniards did, in Southend. So they're 3.5 hours away, apparently.
Hold on one second. You have to reiterate that bit. I almost missed that at the end of the sentence. Did you say there's a Spanish team here and they're staying in Southend?
In Southend, yeah. They approached me earlier and said, we need to find another hotel because it took 3.5 hours to get here. I said, how did you get here? And his response was taxis, implying multiple, as if they were getting out of one and into another. So I don't know the complete story behind that, but I've got them a replacement hotel.
Let them stay here 3.5 hours.
That is a long time. Well, it doesn't take that long to get to Scotland. So when you think about it, they've not probably picked the best hotel.
I love that. How did you get here? Taxis?
Yeah.
3.5, man, that must have cost a lot.
They said it kind of nonchalantly. I think it's because they won their last game, so they were kind of buzzing, and it was.
That £700 bill for taxis was worth it.
Very much worth it for that big win, and when they might dominate the amateur bracket if they get there tomorrow.
So what do you think of the competition this event? Are you happy with the teams that have turned up?
Honestly, we've had more competitive events, but at the same time, we're at the back end of Black Ops 2, and you know there's a lot of teams that have come through, and they're all. The levels kind of evening out. I mean, if you look at that demand game that we've just had against TC, on paper, there's only one team who's going to win that, or you'd think. But in the end, Refuse looked solid throughout. And
yeah, it was kind of one of them ones. Demand just absolutely tore them apart. And interesting to see. I want to touch on another team here. I mean, I coached a team earlier that is not.
No, you didn't.
I did. I helped coach a team earlier. I helped coach the YouTube team. Although, in fairness, they couldn't really hear me, so it was just me shouting at them doing nothing. But that team was actually quite impressive. And I mean, I was kind of surprised to hear there's always been that YouTube competitive, sort of thing, and they won their first 2 games.
Well, it's not like if you have a YouTube channel, your talent goes down. You know what I mean? It's that
argument that realistically the best Call of Duty players are the competitive ones, but some of the most famous Call of Duty players aren't the competitive ones. So it's always kind of had that small rivalry go on. And you know what? I think I'm quite happy because I've been an advocate of getting YouTubers into Call of Duty, competitively playing outside of it, and at the moment they really seem to be enjoying it.
Well, you say that, but I'd say that's a very British thing, is the YouTubers not necessarily being competitive. Because if you look at, say, America, you've got the likes of Nadeshot and Scump. If you look at Spain, you've got Stacks. If you look at France, you've got Gataga. And these are popular guys, and these are guys who more or less cut their teeth in competitive gaming. Whereas, I guess in the UK, I don't know if it's down to laziness or in some cases bitterness, but it seems like the top players are kind of struggling to get into that scene and really make their mark on YouTube. Whereas,
it might be something to do with the community or something, but you heard it here first. Mellow just called all of the top players in UK lazy and bitter.
not the players necessarily bitter, but they're fans. Like fans, I think more and more people are beginning to accept that you can have a fan base. But if you look at some websites, you'll see that people are like, "You're a fan of him." you loser kind
I
of
actually
thing. And
completely
that's
agree with that. That is, in my opinion, one
kind
of the most serious problems we have. Is
Yeah,
that
whereas
people aren't willing to give credit where it's due, and it needs to be done. I mean, some of the things these players do are just simply incredible, and anyone who's a die-hard fan of the sport will know that it is, in fact, these guys deserve respect.
Oh, they definitely do, but it's typical. That's just the internet logic, isn't it? That like, if you don't like something, it always has to be blown completely out of proportion, and
I don't believe
how
that
the
for a
internet works.
second.
I think and
Everything
it's
on
the
the
same
internet is
with
true.
you can't support something. I bet they have a sneaky look on like Benson's stream and stuff like that when he's when he's up, but they'll say, "Nah, I hate him" or whatever. So.
But there we go. That was a lovely talk there with Chris Mellow Marsh.
Beautiful.
However, we're going to pass back over to Chewy, who is once again on EGL Central.